12 stop everything. Lumenfield just erupted with breaking news, and one fact is already on the table. 346 yards. A redemption story reached its peak. A penalty nearly cost everything, and a defensive flaw just got exposed before the biggest game of the season. Former Cowboys star Dez Bryant admitted he was dead wrong. The NFL caught heat for a controversial call, and head coach Mike Macdonald revealed a formation problem that could haunt Seattle in 2 weeks. If you create earthquakes louder than you breathe, hit like and subscribe right now, because the Patriots are watching this tape. We start with Sam Darnold silencing every single critic who said he couldn't do it. Stay locked. There's a double cliffhanger at the end that involves New England's game plan. The doubters lined up. The takes aged like milk. And on January 25th, 2026, Sam Darnold made every single one of them eat their words. The question wasn't whether Darnold could play in the playoffs. It was whether he belonged in the conversation at all. The name Sam Darnold. And here's why this performance rewrites his entire career. 25 completions on 36 attempts, 346 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in the NFC Championship game against the Rams. That's not just a stat line, that's a statement. This is the same quarterback the Jets gave up on. The same signal caller labeled a bust after being drafted 3rd overall in 2018. Minnesota didn't even bring him back after he led them to 14 wins last season. Seattle took the gamble, and Darnold just cashed in at the biggest moment. But here's the wrinkle. According to Dez Bryant, who has been one of Darnold's loudest critics, this performance forced him to publicly apologize. Bryant took to X on January 25th and wrote, "Congratulations to Sam Darnold, because I didn't believe you. Shut me the feff you up. I'm looking forward to watching you play in the Super Bowl." When's the last time you saw a former superstar admit he was wrong in real time? That's the culture Seattle built. That's the belief Mike Macdonald instilled. And here's the kicker. Darnold didn't take the bait. After the win, he told Fox Sports, "It's amazing to be able to do it with these guys in this locker room, with this coaching staff. That's why it means the world to me. I haven't really thought about my journey much, to be honest, but I take it one day at a time. One day at a time." That's the mantra that carried him from bust to Super Bowl starter. Do you think Sam Darnold just became a top 10 quarterback with this performance? Drop your ranking below. And if you believe the Patriots are sweating after watching this tape, smash that like button and let the rest of the NFL know who runs the NFC. Richard Sherman, the Seahawks legend himself, broke it down on his podcast the next day. Sherman said, "Sam Darnold could not have played a better game. You talk about beating the allegations. Sam Darnold can't play against the Rams. Sam Darnold can't play in the playoffs. Sam Darnold can't play in the clutch. And Sam Darnold is on his way to the Super Bowl." But as epic as that performance was, another Seahawks player nearly threw it all away with one emotional decision that had the NFL under fire and fans divided. Discipline or destiny. The next story cuts deeper. Late 4th quarter, Seahawks leading, momentum shifting, and then one flag nearly changed the entire trajectory of the season. The player, former Pro Bowl quarterback Rick Woolen. The call, a personal foul for taunting that extended a Rams drive and led directly to a touchdown. Here's what happened. Woolen made a huge defensive stop. one of those plays that shifts energy in a playoff game. But instead of celebrating with his teammates, he turned toward the Rams bench and let his emotions take over. The referees threw the flag. The Rams got new life and Los Angeles scored a touchdown on the very next play instead of punting on 4th down. The Seahawks still won 31-27, but that call left fans, media members, and even players questioning the NFL's taunting rules. Bill Simmons of The Ringer didn't hold back on his January 25th podcast. Simmons asked, "I don't know who it's for. I don't know if they're trying to teach sportsmanship to younger people. They felt like something was going out of line. Here's where it falls apart for them. It's the same sport with the same rule that after a turnover or a safety or whatever, all of the defenders can run into the other end zone and do snow angels and stuff. So, it's like that's not taunting, but Woolen getting excited that he just made a great stop, and he is in front of the bench and he yells at a couple people like, I just don't understand. Why do you have these two different outcomes for things that you're just governing completely different? The hypocrisy is glaring. Defenders can mob celebrate in the end zone after a turnover, but Woolen can't yell near the sideline after a critical stop. Fans on X lit up the league. One wrote, "We are really calling this a personal fall. Seahawks are getting these soft calls for what? BS?" Another added, "Caught every time or not at all. Pick one. Not when you feel like it." And a third person said, "I blame the NFL. Such a soft rule." Woolen himself took the next day to apologize and explain his mindset. He wrote, "No cap, high intense game, and when you in the zone and balling with your bros, sometimes you black out." How Mike Macdonald, the Seahawks head coach, took a different approach post-game. Instead of criticizing Woolen, Macdonald praised the team's response. He told NFL, "Calm. He just made an emotional decision, and we got to pick him up. That's not the time to point the finger, get all upset. You've got to go play the next play and score and go back." Rick came back and played well the rest of the game. So, it literally is like 12 is 1. Just keep picking each other up. That's leadership. That's the locker room culture Seattle has built. Do you think the taunting call was soft or justified? Drop your hottest take below. And if you're tired of inconsistent officiating deciding playoff games, hit subscribe and let the NFL know we're watching. But while Woolen's penalty grabbed headlines, another issue quietly emerged that could decide the Super Bowl. The Patriots are paying attention, and Macdonald knows it. The next revelation is tactical, and it might be Seattle's biggest vulnerability heading into February 8th. 49 wides. That's how many yards the Seahawks defense, the best unit in the NFL this season, surrendered to the Rams in the NFC Championship game. Matthew Stafford carved them up for 374 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. As Sean McVay found a weakness, exploited it relentlessly, and now Mike Macdonald has admitted the problem out loud. The formation, 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and it gave Seattle fits all night long. Here's why this matters. The Rams rarely use 12 personnel. According to True Media Sports, Los Angeles ran that formation on just 6% tore 6% of their offensive snaps during the regular season, 4th lowest in the NFL. In their first 2 playoff games, that number dropped to 7%, but against the Seahawks on January 25-22, 4%. McVay tripled his usage of that formation because he knew it would work. Macdonald confirmed it post-game, telling reporters via Seahawks, "We weren't covering very well, so trying to find some solutions in the back end." And so there is a trade-off when you do and the timing of how you do it. They had a great game plan. They did some things on second down they hadn't done all season, and we had to come up with some new stuff. Frankly, they were really hurting us on second downs. We had to adjust. ESPN's Brady Henderson broke down the film and revealed how the Rams attacked. McVay spread the defense by splitting tight ends Davis Allen and Cobby Parkinson out wide, creating spread set. Lutz forced Seattle's secondary into one-on-one matchups. Running back Karen Williams and the tight ends released on short routes underneath, drawing defenders away from the deep threats that left receivers like Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua isolated against single coverage, and they torched the Seahawks repeatedly. Nacua ripped off a 40-yard gain in the first quarter. Adams picked up 23 YDs across the middle later in the game. Both plays came out of 12 personnel. Macdonald's solution: dial up the pressure. He started blitzing Stafford more frequently, forcing quicker throws and disrupting the timing of Mavai's offense. It worked well enough to win, but Macdonald knows it won't be enough against the Patriots. Why? Because New England has the exact personnel to replicate what the Rams did. The Patriots have tight ends Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, both capable pass catchers. They have running backs Ramondre Stevenson and rookie Trevin Henderson who can split out and catch. And they have big play receivers Stephen Diggs and Kahan Boot who will feast if Seattle doesn't adjust. A Macdonald and defensive coordinator Aiden Durr have 2 weeks to find answers. Do they play more zone to prevent explosive plays? Do they bring more pressure and risk leaving receivers one-on-one? Or do they trust their secondary to win individual matchups against a Patriots offense that scored on the 13 of their last 15 possessions this postseason? Do you think the Seahawks can fix this defensive flaw before the Super Bowl? Drop your prediction below. And if you believe Seattle's secondary will lock down Diggs and Bodie, hit like and let Patriots fans know what's coming. But listen closely because the edge of the cliff is here. The Patriots are studying this exact tape right now, and there's one more twist that could decide everything. 3 stories, 1 mission. Sam Darnold rewrote his career narrative, throwing for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns to silence every critic who said he couldn't win in the playoffs. Rick Woolen made an emotional mistake that nearly cost the Seahawks the game, sparking a league-wide debate about inconsistent officiating and taunting rules. And Mike Macdonald exposed a defensive flaw, admitting that 12 personnel formations hurt his unit badly against the Rams and could haunt Seattle again in the Super Bowl. This is the defining moment for the Seahawks franchise. They haven't been back to the Super Bowl since the heartbreaking loss to the Patriots in 2015 when Malcolm Lurt intercepted Russell Wilson at the goal line with 20 seconds left. That memory still burns. That scar still shows. And now 11 years later, the Seahawks get their chance at revenge against the exact same team. The Patriots are different now. Drake May is the quarterback, not Tom Brady. Mike Vrabel is the head coach, not Bill Bitch. But the pedigree is the same, the discipline is the same, and the ability to exploit weaknesses is the same. If Seattle doesn't adjust to 12 personnel, New England will run the exact same plays the Rams did. If Woolen or any other Seahawk loses composure and draws a taunting penalty, the Patriots will capitalize ruthlessly. And if Darnold has even one turnover, the narrative flips back to he can't win the big one. But here's what gives the 12s hope. This team went 14-3 in the regular season, best record in the NFC. Darnold threw for 883 yards and 39 touchdowns with just 12 interceptions. The defense allowed the fewest points in the NFL. Jackson Smith and Jigba caught 10 passes for 153 yards and a touchdown in the NFC Championship game. Kenneth Walker scored twice. This roster is loaded. Here's what I need from the 12s. 1. Smash that like if you believe Sam Darnold is about to shock the world and win Super Bowl MVP. 2. Drop a comment with your final score prediction for Seahawks versus Patriots. Are we winning by a field goal or blowing them out? 3. Subscribe because every single subscriber makes Patriots fans nervous and we're about to take over the entire NFL. But listen closely. Here's the edge of the cliff. One signature is still missing. The Seahawks are reportedly working on a long-term extension for Jackson Smith and Jigba, but sources say he's waiting to see if Seattle makes one more roster move before committing. That decision could come in the next 72 hours. And on top of that, the Patriots just claimed a former Seahawks defensive coordinator is consulting with their staff this week, studying film and helping New England prepare for 12 personnel countermeasures. Which team adjusts faster, Seattle's defense or New England's offense? Plus, there's a rumor that a Seahawks offensive coach called a players-only meeting after the Rams game. No coordinators, no Macdonald. And what was said could either unite this team or divide it before the biggest game of their lives. That story of next 12s. The earthquake is here. Hit subscribe, stay locked, and let's bring the Lombardi Trophy back to Lumen Field. Revenge is a dish best served cold. See you in the Super Bowl.
Sure.